Keanu Reeves chose Alexandra Grant, and Hollywood still doesn't know how to react. Hollywood loves a script. It loves the age gaps it can explain, the couples it can sell, the partners it can upgrade, rebrand, and quietly replace. So when Keanu Reeves stepped onto the red carpet holding hands with Alexandra Grant, something strange happened. There was no applause, no celebratory headlines, no fairy tale framing. Instead, there was hesitation, and that hesitation is exactly what this video is about. Because Keanu Reeves didn't just choose a partner, he broke a set of unspoken Hollywood rules, and the industry still doesn't know how to respond. And before you assume this is another Hollywood couple praise video, stay with me. Because the real reason this relationship unsettles people has almost nothing to do with age, beauty, or money. Hollywood celebrates authenticity until it can't control the image. The moment Hollywood froze. Keanu Reeves has walked hundreds of red carpets. He's been applauded, worshipped, memified, and mythologized. But when he appeared publicly with Alexandra Grant, the reaction was different. Cameras still flashed, but the energy shifted. Instead of excitement, there was analysis. Instead of romance, there were think pieces. Instead of joy, there was confusion. Headlines didn't say Keanu in love, they said unexpected, unconventional, surprising. Those words matter because in Hollywood language, they don't mean neutral, they mean off script. And Keanu Reeves going off script is something the industry has never known how to handle. But to understand why this relationship caused such discomfort, you need to understand the 3 rules Hollywood quietly expects its biggest male stars to follow. And Keanu broke all 3. Rule number 1. Youth is non-negotiable. Hollywood forgives many things. Aging is not one of them, especially for women. Leading men are allowed to age into legacy icons. Their partners are expected to stay visually frozen in time. Keanu Reeves didn't do that. He didn't upgrade. He didn't soften the optics. He didn't chase youth for image balance. And what shocked people wasn't Alexandra Grant's age. It was the absence of apology. No defensive interviews, no justification, no PR spin, just quiet confidence. And that silence is exactly what unsettled the industry. Because when a man as universally adored as Keanu Reeves refuses to play the youth game, it forces people to confront something uncomfortable. And not everyone is ready for that. Rule number 2. Power must flow one way. Hollywood relationships are often built on imbalance. One person has the fame, the money, the leverage, the other adapts. Alexandra Grant didn't. She had her own career long before Keanu, her own reputation, her own creative identity. She wasn't absorbed into his world, she stood beside it. And that breaks a quiet industry expectation, that a celebrity partner should orbit, not coexist. If you're enjoying this kind of celebrity breakdown, the kind that goes beyond just gossip and actually explains why certain stories feel uncomfortable, make sure you're subscribed. These are the stories the headlines never finish. Rule number 3. The partner must be marketable. Hollywood doesn't just care about love, it cares about sellability. Can the partner boost brand deals, attract younger demographics, fit neatly into fashion narratives? Alexandra Grant doesn't try to. She doesn't perform celebrity femininity. She doesn't chase viral moments. She doesn't play the influencer role. And because of that, Hollywood doesn't know how to package her. That's not a flaw. It's the disruption. But here's where things get even more interesting, because the discomfort around this relationship doesn't just come from Hollywood. Some of it comes from the fans. The fan paradox. Keanu Reeves has been turned into a symbol, the perfect man, the humble king, the internet's emotional comfort character. And symbols aren't supposed to choose real lives. They're supposed to remain available for projection. This relationship closed that door. Suddenly, Keanu wasn't an idea. He was a man with boundaries. And that's when admiration quietly shifted into something else. Because the strongest backlash didn't come from tabloids, it came from people who claim to love him. The language that gives it away. Pay attention to how the media talks about Alexandra Grant. They rarely say beautiful. They say confident. They say intellectual. They say unexpected. Compliments that feel defensive. That kind of language is not neutral. It's a workaround. It's how you describe something you don't know how to celebrate. And that's the quiet truth here. Hollywood doesn't know how to celebrate a relationship that doesn't feed fantasy. In the first part, we talked about the rules Keanu Reeves quietly broke and why Hollywood froze instead of celebrating. But now we get to the part most people avoid saying out loud. Because the real discomfort around Alexandra Grant isn't about optics, it's about what their relationship takes away. Why calm love threatens celebrity culture? Celebrity culture runs on emotional access. Fans don't just watch stars, they imagine themselves in their lives. They project fantasies. They build parasocial closeness. Chaotic relationships feed that system. Breakups, reconciliations, drama cycles. But Keanu and Alexandra offer none of that. They don't perform affection. They don't overshare. They don't invite speculation. And without drama, the fantasy collapses. What's left is something harder to consume. Two grounded adults choosing each other without asking for approval. And here's the part that quietly unsettles people the most. A woman who doesn't compete. Alexandra Grant doesn't compete with fans, with youth, or with attention. She doesn't try to be adored. She doesn't try to be desired by the public. She doesn't need validation from Keanu's audience. That's rare in Hollywood. And for some people, that reads as cold or unrelatable. But what it really is independence. And independence doesn't leave room for projection. The moment people don't expect. Watch their body language, not the posed photos, the candid ones. Keanu doesn't perform protection. Alexandra doesn't perform dependence. They stand side by side. No hierarchy, no display. That kind of equality isn't cinematic. It doesn't look like a rom-com. It looks like real life. And real life doesn't trend easily. Which brings us to the most uncomfortable truth of all. Hollywood doesn't know how to sell peace. The industry knows how to sell desire, fantasy, chaos. It does not know how to sell emotional stability. There's no scandal to tease, no image to reinvent, no crisis to exploit. So instead, there's silence. And when there's silence, people start filling in the gaps with discomfort, judgment, or suspicion. Why Keanu Reeves never defended the relationship? Keanu Reeves never issued a statement, never corrected critics, never explained his choice, because explaining would mean asking permission, and this relationship was never meant to be understood by the crowd. It was meant to be lived. What makes his pairing powerful isn't that it's perfect, it's that it refuses to perform. It doesn't reassure, it doesn't entertain, it doesn't ask to be liked. And in a culture addicted to spectacle, that feels radical. So here's the real question. Do Keanu Reeves and Alexandra Grant make people uncomfortable? Or are people just not used to seeing a relationship that doesn't need them? If you enjoyed this kind of deeper celebrity storytelling, where we don't just report what happened, but why it matters, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still believes Hollywood romance has to look a certain way. Because sometimes the quietest love stories are the ones that say the most.